Okay, folks, this is our last unit update. This is the last video I plan on making regarding a unit in our getting ready for our AP exam 2020. Let's take a look here. Okay, here we go. This is May the 5th, and here we are. I'm at the scene of a beach. You may remember the movie Stand and Deliver is about a group of calculus students that did very well. Anyway, when they were done, they went to the beach. So I have this little scene as a reminder that, I don't know, maybe you can go to a local lake, or you can go in a swimming pool, or just throw some water on you, okay? Let's get through this last unit update. You know, we've gone a long way. We did a lot of things on the board. We've been through a lot of content. One thing I want to do, as we're at the end, talk about why we signed up for the course in the first place. You may remember I tried to sell you on this. This may be something that looked just like what I showed you the first day of class. But what are the benefits of taking AP Calculus? That's a very good question. You can continue your math. I think it forces you to think deeper. You could improve your weak skills. If you didn't know how to use the graphing calculator, you'd learn that. If you had trouble with your algebra, which a lot of people do, you would be forced to improve it. Insight into math concepts. Like, for example, in this unit, we're going to study about where that exponential equation came from. And you could see where a lot of these mathematical ideas you've been taught, where they came from. And I think that's interesting. Effective use of resources, the ability to use your calculator well, the ability even to use a textbook well, all those resources that came with you on the textbook, some of the things we did in class, learning activities and tools, all of those things help us. The next item, a learning system fluency. The use of Schoology and how everything was brought together into one area on an online platform is going to be very beneficial to you as you move on in your educational experiences. And I know that the things that you've been taught by working at are going to be very helpful, and you'll be able to do better as a result of that. I'd like to point out some comments students would say about the class. I'll leave you with these two. One student said, "I learn something new every day." A student said to me one time, "You give us challenges. The things that you taught us that were really the hardest challenges, those are the things that helped me when I went to college." So I do hope that this has been a meaningful experience for you, and that you are, you're going to be facing that AP exam, but it's a challenge. It's a way to look at it. And those free response questions can be challenges. But hopefully, as we've gone through here, the way we've done it, we've provided a quality opportunity. All right, let's continue in this update. Remember, we're following the guide that has an explanation of how the whole exam and calculus is put together. Try to keep in mind that this one little book is a result of many, many years of people working with the College Board at the university and high school level, working with students in a calculus course. And there's just a lot of positive things to say about it. Also, keep in mind this was the whole course at a view, your unit topics, your unit titles, and then the topics within each title. And hopefully it all comes together and it's not a bunch of separate ideas. There's a relationship between them. Now remember, for this year, we're stopping at Unit 7, differential equations. And this is where we, it's kind of like Radio Shack. You got questions, we have answers, or you have answers, we have questions. So a differential equation is we're looking at something that is shown to us in life, or it's given to us on a piece of paper. It's a derivative of something related to the variables, and we're trying to understand it. We could learn some things by studying it, and also we may be able to go backwards to find the original function. So we know how to take a function, take the derivative, find the derivative. This is like you're given the derivative and you're trying to go back to the original function. I really do like this explanation. It's talking about solving differential equations and then slope fields. Those are the two main ideas in this unit. I do like the advice that's given to you on preparing for your exam. It's talking about setting up your differential equations, separating variables, solving. And a little reminder, a lot of students think everything's logarithmic. It's not. And by the way, there's a lot to this idea of differential equations. It used not to be a part of the AB calculus, but more and more has been brought in. And more applications are taught students in the college level, and that's used in different fields. So it's an interesting topic. Okay. Here's your unit at a glance. Again, the topics, and then like how much time it would take, and then you have the skills there as well. All right, let's go through these topics. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we're talking about modeling a situation with a differential equation. It could be, well, I always think of exponential growth, okay? So take a look at that. All right, here we have a differential equation and we're trying to verify a solution. So a solution to a differential equation is an original function in terms of x and y. And a differential equation is an equation with x, y, and y prime. We also remember that when we started solving differential equations, there was always that constant, so there's a family of functions. This topic is a little sketchy, sketching slope fields. And so you may remember we had this graph with little segment marks. It almost looks like those, remember those iron grains you did when you were doing magnetism and you poured the iron down over a magnet? It helped you to know where the flow or the magnetic lines were. So here's a graph, and we're showing you where the function goes with these little like air conditioner vanes. And notice in this particular case, they all seem to have a sort of a general shape to them if you put a point anywhere and then traced it. But in this particular idea, there's a point that's given to you or an initial condition. And what you do is you just you just go with the flow. I use the idea of dropping Nemo in the ocean, okay? And he goes with the current. All right, so that's a little explanation of a slope field. And there's a lot more that you could do with these slope fields. There actually is a pretty good amount of depth to studying slope fields, which we didn't get a lot of chance to look into. Now this is where we're starting with the differential equation, and we're working back to a general solution or a general equation, a family of curves. All right, here we're finding a particular solution, just like I illustrated to you in that graph. Let's take a look here. The enduring understanding. What am I supposed to get out of this? You know, past taking the exam. Solving differential equations allows us to determine functions and develop models. Very important, okay? I wonder how many things that affect us in life have been brought about in part by solving a differential equation. Here's the objective: determine particular solutions to a differential equation. Here's the wording of it: a graph passing through a given point. I just illustrated that to you. But I like this notation here, okay, because basically what it's saying is we're solving for a function. I'm giving you an equation, and here's the initial condition. So I think that's a good little explanation of that topic. And then here we're using exponential models in differential equations. Like, for example, let's say the amount of bacteria that's growing is directly related to the amount of bacteria that is there. Well, you could rewrite that verbal expression into a differential equation. And then here down at the bottom, you have this should be very familiar with you, this little y equals y sub naught e to the kt. A very important idea in high school math, usually taught in Algebra 2 and somewheres in science classes. Where did that equation come from? It came from this idea and the skill of solving a differential equation. Let me go back here for a moment. I always think of money. You know, the amount of money you're making in a bank, a certain interest, it's related to the amount of money you have in there, and the rate at which your total amount is growing is directly related to how much money is in there. Well, I did that because I wanted to try to generate some interest in this topic. Please don't forget your progress check. Hopefully you're understanding these multiple choices I'm giving to you, I'm asking you to do to kind of just get the concepts refreshed. We have 15 and then 3 free response. I've been working on those, and I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes you can see my actual work. But seriously, I do want you to take those questions seriously. And these next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I want to be available to you to go over anything you don't understand. And feel free to contact me. I'd like to be able to answer all your questions. And that'll be good. All right, here's an example. Speaking of free response questions, this is actually in that progress check. So here's a differential equation. Notice y prime, x, and y. Okay, there it is right there. And you're supposed to fill out this slope field. Hey, let's do a couple points. How about this 0 over here? 0, 0. Well, if I plug in 0, 0 for x and y, I'm going to get 0. So that should be a slope of 0 right there. Now let's do one more. How about 1, 1? 1, 1. Okay, we're going to plug 1 in for both the x and the y. So that's going to be 1. So a slope of 1, the function, if it crossed here, would go that way. That makes sense? Okay. Now, what I want to do is just take about 1 or 2 minutes and give you some reminders here about your week 8. I have a lot of stuff about your exam in week 8. So there's a guide in there that will help you. So a couple reminders here. First of all, look for your exam confirmation in your e-ticket. Okay, that's going to show up 2 days before the exam. So I'm thinking Sunday or Monday. And then over here, May 4th, okay, I guess that was May the 4th be with you. I'm not too sure. But they wanted you to, practice that demo. And that will be a good idea for you to do. You should be working on these prep things as we get closer to the exam. I like this because it shows you what your e-ticket will look like, and it gives you a reminder about when it's going to show up, and how you can find it. Try to remember, this is our plan. You're going to use your laptop and get into the browser. You're going to do your work on your paper, take a picture with your phone, send it to your laptop, and then attach the file so you could submit your question. Probably be a good idea if we practice that. Remember, on exam day, we're doing 2 questions. First one, you have 30 minutes, and then you sign in 30 minutes before 2 o'clock, okay, so everything's all ready. Plus, there's a couple of questions you have to answer. But right at 2 o'clock, question number 1 is going to appear. Please don't touch your browser or try to refresh your browser, okay? So 25 minutes to work that question. Try to, do it in parts, okay? Label your part A, B, C, D, like you see me doing. And then anyway, the last 5 minutes, you'll be given 5 minutes to go through that process of taking your picture, sending it to your laptop, attaching the file, sending it to the AP people. And then you got that other question for 15 minutes. Try to remember the question's going to be a free response type question, but I do believe they're going to look a little different. They're going to have several parts in there, and some of them should be pretty easy, okay, to test hopefully a somewhat comprehensive test of what you learn in calculus. All right, so there's a little demo to practice. So I would just follow the directions and I practice this. You can practice this over and over and over until you get really comfortable with it. So keep that in mind. We're at the end. So this is my last update, last opportunity to share with you in this format. Calculus is about change. It's about limits. It's about functions. And you think about, as you made the decision to be in the class and you took the class, think about how much changed in your life since the beginning of class. Think about the changes that we have been through in this little shutdown experience. I want you also to know that I have tried my very best to provide for you a quality experience outside the classroom. And I think to a certain degree, well, I believe to a certain degree, we have achieved that. And I'm proud of your engaging in our effort to bring you to a state of preparation before you take that exam. Now, you may remember I told you my main purpose in this class was to help you learn the material, the calculus. And now we're trying to get the highest grade possible because it could help us, help document our success. Well, I do hope this video was helpful, and I look forward to working with you this week as you get prepared for taking your AP exam on Tuesday. All right, thank you.